State Representative Joe Sosnowski rolls the dice on a bill meant to strengthen the Illinois gaming industry and sustain its long-term success.
WIFR News reporter Sydney Stoffregan hears from the local legislator who introduced this bill to the House of Representatives.
Illinois legalized casino gambling in 1990. After that, the industry within the state hit the jackpot, growing to 17 casinos, nearly 9,000 licensed video gaming locations, and 14 active sportsbooks.
But it's been clear for years that there's definitely a handful of casinos that do better than others.
And he's not bluffing. That's why 69th District Representative Joe Sosnowski introduced a bill that would allow the 3 most underperforming Illinois casinos to relocate. He says another community increases that casino's odds of success.
It doesn't mandate it, but it allows for those casino operators to put in a request and then bid out for a new location.
And for communities, the license could be a windfall. The American Gaming Association says its industry is responsible for 30,000 jobs around the state.
If we have 100 jobs in an underperforming casino location and we can shift those to an overperforming location, we could triple the number of jobs and people that are employed.
Regulated gambling generated nearly $2 billion in tax revenue for the state in 2024. Here in Rockford, the Hard Rock Casino is expected to bring in $7 million each year. For a city like Freeport, that money could mean tackling big projects.
We will invite anybody who is willing to look into Freeport to come and see what they can do in terms of offering our residents those kind of employment opportunities.
But before being considered, communities must show they can support the increase in economic activity.
Only will the prior location receive their funds, but a new location is more than likely going to have a lot more revenue sharing available for local governments.
The bill would allow for the adjusted gross receipts of all Illinois casinos to be reviewed by the Illinois Gaming Board to identify the most underperforming casinos.
Thank you, Sydney. And the area that loses a casino would receive a share of receipts 2 times what they are currently paid in an effort to make up for potential loss to the community.